Hi there, welcome to Rent Prep for Landlords. I'm Andrew Schultz, Community Manager here at Rent Prep. I'm also a licensed real estate broker with over 14 years of experience in the property management and rental property industries. And today we're going to be talking all about move-in inspections and why those are a critical part of your business. Let's get to it. Move-in checklists are a critical part of every turnover and move-in. Essentially, a move-in checklist is the way that you as a landlord stop yourself from forgetting to do the things that you need to do between the time that the tenant's approved and the time that that tenant moves into the apartment. It also helps you create a good, accurate record of the apartment at the time of move-in. And just for some context here, if you're watching this video, we're going to operate under the assumption that you've already been through the tenant screening process, you've already gotten your lease signed and received a security deposit. You're basically ready to get the apartment squared away for that tenant to move into, collect that first month's rent, and turn the unit over to the tenant. The information that you're recording as part of your move-in checklist and the photos or videos that you're taking as part of the move-in also become part of that tenant's file with you. Keep in mind that much like tenant screening, the move-in checklist represents a snapshot in time. The entire move-in process represents a snapshot in time. What I mean by that is that the information that you record is going to be as it was the day and time that you snapped that photo, filmed that video, or wrote that report. You can't go back in time at the time of move out and get a picture of that thing that you forgot to take a picture of, and now it's damaged or destroyed or whatever the case is. So you need to make sure that you're being detailed on this and spending some time going through when you're taking your photos and being detailed in your record keeping. And not for nothing, there have been so many times where we've gone back to our move-in photos and referenced that set of move-in photos before we have to go ahead and send a maintenance person out, or been able to help a tenant resolve an issue over the phone just simply because we have a good set of move-in photos. So don't overlook this as part of your move-in process. There are a lot of different formats out there for recording and keeping track of your move-ins, and the simplest and easiest way is a pen and paper move-in sheet along with taking good photos on your cell phone. It's very easy to get good, detailed photos with a cell phone nowadays, and you can have the tenant sign off on the condition sheet at the time of move-in. One thing I would mention is that if you plan on using your cell phone, make sure that your photos are time and date stamped as they're taken. And having that time and date stamp on each photo can really help you out, especially when you're comparing a before and after photo set, because it'll give you some context as to when the photos were actually taken. It's definitely going to be of value to you if you ever have to go to court, because having a time date stamped photo really can help give context as to what the apartment looked like at the time of move-in versus what the apartment looked like at the time of move out. If pen and paper and cell phone is the route that you're looking to go, I would recommend heading over to RentPrep's website and searching for move-in checklist. There's an excellent blog article over there that includes a download link for a free form that you can use. You can use it for move-ins, move-outs, periodic inspections, the whole gamut. It's free, you can download it, and there's also 3 great videos where I go into huge detail on how I actually shoot my move-in inspections, and it gets very, very detailed. So check that out over at rentprep.com, because some of that stuff will get glossed over in this video, but a really good detail on how to conduct a move-in inspection can be found over on the RentPrep website in the subsequent videos that we filmed on this topic. There are also a bunch of different apps out there that you can use to help you complete a room-by-room inspection. In our office at Own Buffalo, we're currently using Z Inspector. I know a lot of the Section 8 agencies are currently using Happy Inspector, and there are a ton of other software programs out there dedicated just to doing inspections on properties. Some property management softwares also include inspection software, or the ability to do a condition report or an inspection or something along those lines. I know that the software package, again, that we're using over at Own Buffalo, which is called AppFolio, that has that software built right into it. So you can go really, really low tech, or you can go really, really high tech, as long as you're capturing the data that you need. That's the most important part of this. Now, some landlords like to shoot a video as their move-in inspection, and I tend to shy away from that because I don't feel that it gives an accurate enough representation of the true condition of the property versus just taking photos. The reason I say that is because video moves by its very nature, which leads to blurring and lack of detail, which that's really what we're aiming for here, is making sure that we have as much detail as we can get. Some landlords are also starting to use 360 photos to complete their inspections. And again, I would caution you that if you're going to do this, get standard photos of anything that you're calling out as damaged or broken or worn down. The current 360 camera technology is not strong enough, at least in my opinion, to be able to zoom in and really see the finite details that you may need to in the event that something is damaged. So if you're going to use 360 photos or you're going to use video, I would strongly recommend supplementing that with individual shot photos of anything that you need to call out as I'd mentioned, damaged or worn or broken. So when should you complete your move-in checklist? Well, obviously you're going to want to do this prior to move-in, and I would recommend doing it as close as possible to the move-in so there really isn't a bunch of discussion on there being differences between when you shot your photos and when the tenant actually moved in. I usually shoot either the day of or the day before, and then that way it basically eliminates all of that from even being a point of discussion. I also recommend doing these at the time of move out and also periodically during the tenancy to make sure that you're staying on top of maintenance concerns as well as any tenant concerns that may pop up over the course of the tenancy. Keep in mind that these inspections are not about committing you to a bunch of repairs. They are about recording the condition of the property at the time and date of the inspection, and obviously there are things that are going to pop as being damaged or being broken when you do the inspections, so it's a good idea to make sure that you're taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. A detailed inspection is actually a very, very good way to find issues or even looming issues and get a list of repairs ready, which is why I recommend doing them at move out, because your move out inspection report tends to become your scope of work for your turnover for the next tenant. That's why so many people will go ahead and get a home inspection before they commit to the purchase of a home. They want the knowledge. They want to know what's looming behind the walls or what issues am I going to have to deal with once I take possession of the apartment. In this instance, it's more for you as the landlord to know what issues do I need to take care of or what issues is my tenant facing when they move in. Again, you want the knowledge just the same as a home inspector, or excuse me, just the same as a home purchaser would want when they go to purchase their home. The goal here is data collection. Your inspection sheet should contain some basic information before the inspection begins. We record the basics: name and phone number, the address of the property we're inspecting, the date and time of the inspection, and whether it's a move-in, a move-out, or a periodic inspection. If you have multiple people doing inspections, it's probably a good idea to also record who completed the inspection so you can go back and ask that person questions if you ever need to. Personally, I walk around and shoot all of my photos before I fill out the condition sheet. I don't want to spend too much time on this section of the video as we already have the several detailed videos on the website like I'd mentioned, but I do want to at least mention that I essentially start off in each room facing towards the front of the house in the top left corner of the room. I then work my way left to right and top to bottom all the way around the room, and I shoot photos of the floors and the ceilings after that. If you move through the room in the same way each time and you move the same way in each room, and then you go back and you shoot your detailed shots, you'll very, very seldom ever miss anything that you wanted to get a photo of. Take your time with this and be as detailed as you can. Again, you can't go back in time to get a picture of what it looked like at the time of move-in when it's already damaged at the time of move-out. So working your way through a room in this capacity helps to ensure that you capture the bulk of everything. You're getting the floors, the walls, the ceilings, the windows, the screens, the mini blinds, the doors. You're covering as much ground as possible by making sure that you take those detailed photos. And if you go through every room the same way each time, it helps to reduce the chance for error. There are a few detail areas that I do want to call out specifically in this video so that they get mentioned, but again, so much more information over on the blog article and the other videos that really go into a full in-depth inspection. You can literally watch me walk through a home and complete an inspection step by step. But anyway, the areas that I wanted to call out, starting in the kitchen, there are a lot of things in the kitchen that you can overlook. Be sure that you're shooting the inside and outside of all of your cabinets and all of your drawers. And if your drawers have any built-ins, make sure that you get the photos of those as well. Things like silverware holders and things of that nature, because it's there now, but it might not be there at the time of move out. So you want to make sure you have photos of that stuff. You also want to make sure that you're getting good photos of the entire countertop as well as the sink. And for appliances, make sure that you shoot the inside and outside of the appliance in great detail. Don't forget to pull your stoves and fridges out to take a photo of underneath, and make sure that you're getting photos of everything: the shelves, the drawers, the knobs, the racks, etc. Stove knobs are very, very expensive. We spent over $20 on just one replacement stove knob. And I just looked up a fridge door gasket that we need to replace, and it's over $75 just for the door gasket for the freezer. It's just a rectangular gasket. Shouldn't be $75, but that's where we're at. My point is that appliance damages can add up very, very, very fast. You want to make sure that you're getting photos of all sides, including the top, and any control panels and things of that nature. Take photos of any dents or dings or scratches, and also be sure to get a picture of the make and model number. That's going to be super, super important, and that again goes to saving you so much time and aggravation in the event that you need to call someone to either come out and do a repair, or you want to go ahead and order a part online. Having that model and serial tag makes that entire process so much easier. This is also a great time to make sure that the appliance is fully operational. So for a stove, you want to make sure that all of your burners, your broiler, etc., everything needs to be functional on that appliance. For a fridge, that means that the ice maker and the water dispensers need to work. If you're putting an appliance in an apartment, in my opinion, that appliance needs to work 100% of the time, 100% of the functions. For a dishwasher, that means it actually has to dispense water and wash dishes. I like to take a photo showing that the stove burners are on, that the water dispenser is working, and that the dishwasher cabinet is wet after running a cycle, in case there's ever a question down the road as to whether or not all the functions on the appliance worked at the time of move-in, in case something gets damaged or it's not working at the time of move-out. One of the tricks that we use is we use either a thumbs up or a thumbs down indicator in our photos to indicate if something was working the way that it's supposed to or not at the time that the tenant moves in, or at the time of the inspection, I should say. Essentially, I can't open the dishwasher to make sure that it's, the agitators are spinning while it's running, but I can at least open the dishwasher and see the wet cabinet and give it a thumbs up while I'm taking a picture of it to show, yes, the dishwasher was run, and yes, the dishwasher is working. We also do this exact same thing with smoke and CO detectors. We get a photo of the unit in place, along with a thumbs up or a thumbs down to show you whether or not it's working. The nice thing about this is, obviously, if it's not working, you're going to catch that as you go through to review your photo set, to complete your condition inspection sheet, and then you can go through and replace it before the tenant even has an opportunity to move in. In the kitchen and in the bathroom, we also run water through the sinks to make sure that they work, both hot and cold water, to make sure that you have good hot and good cold supply. We go ahead and give the thumbs up in these photos as well, and we show that water is going down the drain and that the drains are working well. A thumbs up with water going down the drain, when I go back to reference my photos, means that that drain was not stopped up at the time somebody goes in for their move-in. We also get a shot of the toilet flushing as well as the shower with the shower head running, with a thumbs up to show that the drains are working both in the shower and in the toilet. Now, moving on to the outside of the property, you should complete an exterior inspection of the home on any single-family home anytime that you're turning it over, and I also recommend doing them at move-in and move-out on multifamily as well. Outside would include the entire exterior of the property, so we're talking walls, roof, the property and grounds, any common areas such as pools or community areas if it's an apartment complex, something like that. If tenants have access to a pool or outdoor equipment such as filters, pool tools, chemicals, lawnmowers, hedge trimmers, things of that nature, it's a good idea to get photos of all of that stuff as well, so that you can verify the condition of it when the tenant took possession versus when the tenant moves out. There are also a couple of photos that we need to get each time someone moves out, and we were constantly forgetting them, so we added it to our move-in and move-out condition sheet, so that we're no longer forgetting to grab these photos every time we do one of these inspections. And the main one that was catching us off guard was utility meters. We keep the gas and the electric on during turnovers, and usually it winds up getting billed back to our company. So we need those either starting or finishing meter readings, depending on whether it's a move-in or a move-out, so that we can call the utility company and either open or close the account as necessary. Having a good photo of the meter makes that very, very easy. I like to make sure that I'm getting whatever meter identification number is on there, as well as whatever the current reading is, and that's especially useful on multifamily property because sometimes the meters aren't labeled and you can call the utility with that meter number and they can look it up that way to figure out what unit it may actually go to. So getting a good photo with the reading and the meter number is pretty important when you're getting ready to do those utility turn-ons and turn-offs. The other thing we do is after the tenant and the landlord have signed off on the condition inspection sheet, we go ahead and take a picture of that. It's just the same as scanning it into your computer. Now you have a digital copy of it and you don't have to worry about losing that original paper copy, which you should keep on file whenever possible. Your condition sheet should also indicate when your tenant signs that they are agreeing that this is the condition of the home at the time of the inspection. Some landlords will also add language stating that the tenant is accepting the property in that condition, either in their lease or on their condition report. We don't go to that length. We basically tell tenants that, hey, if you move in, you have 7 days from the time you move in. If you notice additional damages or something's not working, call us and let us know, and we'll add it to your info sheet. And we basically take our photo set and verify against whatever the tenant's telling us to see if the tenant's being truthful or if they caused that damage within the first 7 days of move-in. Once you've completed your inspection, you're going to need to get your records into some sort of a safe spot for storage. We try to keep things digitally whenever possible, so we upload all of our photos from our phone to either Dropbox or Google Drive, and then we save it in the tenant's folder in that space. So either in Google Drive or in Dropbox, we have a folder for every property, a folder for every unit, and then a folder for every tenant. These would go into the tenant's folder, so we have access to those down the road if we ever need it. The paper report, as I mentioned, should be held onto for as long as your state requires you to. However, having a digital copy of it that you can upload helps as well. So there you have it. Move-in inspections help set the stage for both periodic and move-out inspections as well, and they're an important part of your tenancy cycle and definitely should not be ignored. Are you using pen and paper, phone photos, or an app to complete your move-in inspections? Drop us a comment down below and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Andrew Schultz with RentPrep.com, and we'll talk to you soon.